Hello, Phantom fans, and welcome into the season finale of Ghost Stories, brought to you by our friends over at Dunkin. Remember, Ghost Stories is not only available here on YouTube, but also available in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon, and many other popular podcatchers of choice. So be sure to subscribe today, like the podcast, leave a review. Certainly helps out the show. Joining me for this season finale of Ghost Stories is a man that, well, he needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. He has over 700 games coached as a member of the Youngstown Phantoms coaching staff. He has appeared as both the head coach and the assistant coach in the USHL NHL Top Prospects game. He's got the most wins as a head coach in Phantoms history with 135. He eclipsed Anthony Noreen's record of 126 last season and beat Anthony 2 games faster, I do believe. 3 appearances in the Clark Cup playoffs, 1 appearance in the Clark Cup finals, and most importantly, innumerable interviews with yours truly, preparing to enter his 6th season as the Phantoms head coach, Brad Patterson. Patty, how you going? How's your summer?
It's been good. It's better now that I'm talking to you and we're talking hockey.
But, absolutely. I can't believe that camp's getting underway in a week.
Yeah, it's, you anticipate it and you plan for it, and, now it's right around the corner. So it's, you look at things like that all summer and you can't wait for it to happen. And now let's put our skates on and get to work.
Not that you get much of a summer break, but what have you been up to since April 24th?
We've talked about this before. It's busy in an aspect. You're preparing for, the draft, the new year, then camp around the corner. This year we had camp up in at Prinscape at South Point. I believe it was the 20th of June, thereabouts.
Yep.
And we ran it over a course of about 5 days was main camp. Prior to that, we had a futures camp in Pittsburgh, where some younger players were in that would be future, a year down the road, 2 years down the road draft. And then once you get through camp, you kind of start to pare down your roster and what things are going to look like coming back in September. And all while that's going on, there's numerous different camps that we do throughout the Black Bear scope. So many rinks on the East Coast and down towards the south that we're able to bring in a lot of high level players and evaluate them early, and as well as get to know them in a personal way, so that as draft time comes here in a couple of years, that they have a little more insight. And so did a few camps over the course of the summer doing that, and then just a lot of things in house here. The great staff's done a great job as far as getting things and making sure they're ready, but just the preparation going into September. There's always another rock you can turn over, so we all try to do that together.
The 2020-2021 season obviously didn't go the way any of us would have liked. Now that we've had some time to step back and take a look at it, do you have any final thoughts on how things went last year? And obviously the most difficult season, at least record-wise, that you've had as a head coach. What did you take away from that personally as well?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you say that, and it's hard in a lot of different aspects. While you're going through it in the heat of the moment, you're looking to patch things. You're looking to get better in this area because you're struggling there. You're looking to fill a spot for somebody that can't play or whatever the case is. And there was a lot of challenges that we were faced with last year. And I'm fortunate to have a lot of experience through not only playing or coaching and working with great people that you rely on that experience to get through those things. And a lot of what we faced last year was unprecedented. And it's not just the COVID aspect. Like, you hear COVID thrown around so much that, that was a huge hurdle. It was, and it's not to undermine that, but, when you're 3 weeks in and you're missing 2 high-end forwards in Ben Cho and Adam Isley, and Zmolik goes down in the first game, like there was things that it was just, they were freak. And while you can look at that, and to me, that's a crutch. We've talked about that all the time. You can talk about those things, but it gives room for other guys to step up. And I one of the things that I always try to build our teams off of, and that it's that that team camaraderie, and that was, to me, I feel like I failed in that aspect with our group, just in kind of the cards that we were dealt in terms of what we could and couldn't do. I'm a big believer in being together as a team, and that wasn't my message the first day. It definitely wasn't. So some of that was built in, and if I could take it back, would you? Well, we're doing things for the health and safety of a lot of guys, and so it's hard to stomach with some of that stuff, but something that really struck me, and I write notes down all the time. After game, you see the notebooks all the time. And it was a conversation I had with some of our former players, and it's a conversation I have with our players currently. And it's, you get better from going through things like that. I'm a better coach. We're going to be a better organization. We're going to be like, there's multiple different things that you get out of some of the hard times. Right. And you hear it now, you hear it from players, and you don't hear it from players when you're going through it. We'll hear from an agent or a parent maybe sometimes, but when a player isn't playing well, or he's out of the lineup, or there's struggles, or you don't make a team, those are times that you grow exponentially. And I was talking to some guys this summer about, I used to sit down as an assistant. Part of my job was talking to the guys that were going to be healthy scratches, and the message was, hey, you're going to be out tonight, but here's what it's going to do for you. You're going to be better for it. And you tell them these things, and it's hard for them to gather that in the heat of the moment. And you fast forward, going through this summer, and I'm looking back at the year, doing some reflection on it, and talking to some of our former players, and that was some of the messages that they thought was the best thing. And we're talking about guys from 8, 9, 10 years ago that are still playing, like how much that changed them, just knowing. They look back in the heat, they didn't feel that way. They didn't agree with me. But, when they look back at it 2 or 3 years down the road, when they're in college and they face that adversity, or when they're playing pro and face that adversity, they had something to really push for and move on from. They'd been through that experience. And by no means do I want to ever go through that again. There was a lot last year that it was tough, mentally, physically, you name it. But at the end of the day, like I said, you take times like that, you become a better coach, a better organization. And, that's, you have to take the good and the bad. You got to learn from both. And, we've been dealt a lot of good, and, we've had a lot of success over the past few years. And again, it's not something I want to go through again, but I definitely learned some things. And I think the players would say the same thing.
So obviously the health and safety was a big challenge last season. Going forward into 2021-22, are the protocols going to remain in place? Will games that are missed, are they going to be forfeits, or no contest that could be made up like it was last year?
Yeah, I think you're going to see something very similar to what we've been through. We couldn't answer this question last year at this time because things are so fluid, and they still kind of are to a degree. But the league did a great job last year of helping keep everybody with their health in mind, and making some protocols, and a lot of those things will be very similar. I think there's always new information that you're getting. You see, I'm not a medical whiz, but there's things that change on a daily basis. So I think there's a lot of things that come into play with that. But definitely, it's not on the back burner just because, hey, last year we dealt it's something that's going to be ongoing. And I think you live and learn from experiences, like I said. And I think the league did a great job of that. And that's, from the league office down through every organization in the league. So I would expect that to remain. As far as the ins and the outs, as far as, if there was a game canceled or things like that, I couldn't answer that specifically, but I would assume it's going to be very similar to what it was before, just a lot less of what we saw with, being able to rely on experience to get through some of those things.
You are listening to the season finale of Ghost Stories, the Youngstown Phantoms official podcast. I'm Voice of the Phantoms, Matt Lipsack, joined by Phantoms head coach Brad Patterson. We are brought to you by our friends over at Dunkin. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon, and many other popular podcatchers. Be sure to subscribe today. So, Brad, Phantoms, there have been some personnel changes in the building. You have 2 new assistant coaches, Andy Contois and Brandon Gotkin, 2 co-general managers, Jason Deskins and Ryan Kasecki, you're going to be taking over the GM role from you. What can you tell us about your experience with the staff so far, what you knew about them beforehand? And is it exciting to be able to focus a little more on coaching instead of the general manager side of it?
Yeah, just that's a mouthful right there.
It is.
Just
It
threw like
was
6 questions. I'll try to cover them. We'll probably have to go back,
lot going on. Lot going on.
Yeah. First with Jason and Ryan, it's been great. Everything we've ever done here, it's been a team mentality, and you bounce ideas off one another, and I think not only have they shown that, but I think our entire staff has. They're well connected in the hockey community. They're eat, sleep, breathe hockey, no different than anybody else that's here. So it's been great from that aspect. You talk about what they've done, and they've been around, like they've been in our organization in the past and done great things. So that's all of our expectations moving forward as a group. But have brought some new things and some new thought processes or way to go about different things that I think is unique, and it's going to be advantageous, and that's something that's exciting. With Andy, through the interview process, he was great. He was somebody that coached in our league a couple of years ago as an assistant in Bloomington. So I first met him there, but having somebody that's been through in our league as well as at the East Coast League level, he played over, and he's got a similar resume to, from a hockey playing standpoint to, both of us were over in Europe, saw different ways to do things, and I'm excited about that. Andy moved to town last week, so it's been good to have some other boots on the floor here. And then with Gooter, Brandon down in Maryland, he's somebody I mentioned some of the camps that we do. Our Black Bear Sports, we have numerous camps over the course of the summer, and Brandon's somebody that I've worked with in the past, have always, talked hockey with and always had good experiences with. And he's somebody, his energy is contagious. He's somebody it's going to be a great addition, as well as Andy and Ryan and Jason both. He's actually just getting into town here this week, so it'll be good to all sit down, and I think we're all tired of doing these Zoom calls. And Matt, I was expecting you to drive to my house at 9. That's why I thought, you're running a little bit late. That's why I texted you. I thought this was an in-person thing. So,
I apologize.
But no, it's it's what we've gone through over the past year and a half. We've learned a lot about technology, but I'd much prefer to sit in the same room. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with our staff, and although we've done a ton of stuff online, having boots in the room and faces and really hitting the ground running here come next week. Did that cover all your questions? I think that covered them all.
I think you got them all.
I think you asked about like being excited about coaching or main responsibility, and yes, it's the way, especially over the last 16 to 18 months, the man hours that goes into non-ice stuff, with some of the things that have gone on in our league and in our world, and that's definitely been a challenge. But we have a great ownership group that we're doing a lot of things moving into next year that they really helped us gather a lot of different things, whether that be staff, whether that be facility upgrades, whether that be some new technology things that we're working with. They're all exciting avenues, and you don't get that without a strong and very supportive ownership group. So we're very thankful for that.
You mentioned some facility upgrades. How's the new weight room looking? I haven't been to the Cavelli Center. Is it nice? That's part of our job this week, is to finalize and get some of that stuff done. But it's okay.
A lot of the equipment's come in. It's just a matter of getting some fresh look on the walls. But no, it's something as simple as that. It's we're always blessed, and we have everyone gets their passes at the YMCA, which is a beautiful facility here in Boardman. But to have it in house, it really changes what you can do on a day to day, and whether that be attacking skills on the ice or doing multiple ice sessions, and breaking up into smaller groups and doing lifts like that. It's something that I'm proud to say that we're going to have down at the rink, and I think will definitely help in a lot of different areas, which ultimately I think the fans will be happy about, because ultimately that means we'll have better product on the ice.
So equipment manager Evan Watts is going to be busy in the next week or two.
Watts is busy. He's unpacking. He texts me every few minutes telling me about what he just opened up. because there's a lot down there. So I know he's looking forward to our entire staff being down there here tomorrow.
So Jason and Ryan were very busy their first few weeks on the job, shipped a few players out, brought a lot of draft picks in, and recently were able to bring a few players in as well. Justin Varner, Evan Werner, Chase Patilla have been added to the roster. What can you tell us about the new additions?
Yeah, I mean they all bring something different, but I think the mainstay on that is they're extremely skilled. They process the game very highly. You hear the buzzword, or everyone talks about hockey IQ, but those are areas that these guys are tremendous at. So definitely looking forward to that, and then probably above everything is just the type of teammates and type of character they are. Bringing guys in, you want guys like that, and sometimes it's paying a big price to get it. And there's a lot of guys that did things, went about things the right way, good people, good players, like everything. There's nothing bad about them, but anytime you see in sports, to get something quality that you really like, you often have to do the same the other way. So some of those guys we won't see a ton this year just because of the divisional setup. But I know they're going to have bright futures, and with the guys coming in, obviously we're very, very excited to bring them. Desi's worked with a couple of them in the past, and coached them and speaks highly of them, as everyone that we made calls on and checked out. Like, their play speaks for itself when you watch them. But to hear the type of people and the type of character that they have and that they bring to the rink on a daily basis, that's the exciting point.
Speaking of somebody that's moved on from the Phantoms, October 8th, you're finally going to face off against the Madison Capitals after they had to take last season off. And Madison, of course, is led by your former assistant coach, Tommy Upton. How special is it going to be able to coach against Tommy?
Yeah, it's going to be great. Tommy, it was just a matter of time before, he was going to take the reins somewhere in the league. And I truly value our time together. He's not only a great coach, but a great person. He was here for a year, but left a lasting touch. And he's no differently. I know you referenced Ants in the intro. No different than anybody you work with. You want to be competitive against them, and that's the time. You want to bring your best all the time. I have no doubt in my mind. It's unfortunate, that Madison wasn't able to play last year. I think what Tommy's going to bring to that organization is going to be tremendous. I think he's, guys are going to want to play for him. He's an upbeat person. He's a great hockey mind. Excited to see what he does there, and I know he's going to have a ton of success. I hope that success doesn't happen here in Youngstown at all. But I'm definitely excited to get into those games and going to battle against them. Those are the times you love to compete.
And Tommy, if you're listening, congratulations to you and Sarah on the new baby. Mazel tov, my friend. So another special occasion for the Phantoms this year will be a pair of games in Rochester, New York, against the Green Bay Gamblers for the Wegmans American Cup. How special is that going to be, getting to a new location?
Yeah, driving east to go to a game. It'll be
Unheard of.
Different. Yeah, I think the league for the past, I could be wrong here. I think that the past 2 or 3 years they've done some non-market games. I know they were down in Dallas
a couple of years
ago. Yeah, during the Winter Classic, and I think they're going back this year. I think there was one in Minnesota. I could be wrong. But doing it in different areas when there's a youth event going on. And when I say youth event, it's the levels that we scout at, whether it's U15, U16, U18, where a lot of teams from all over the nation will come and play, and we kind of go out there and play a couple evening games where some of those players get to see a USHL game that maybe they don't get to see because of where their market is. So definitely exciting to go out there, be a different environment for sure. League usually puts on a good event when guys go to those teams. I think Green Bay was out in Dallas a couple of years ago.
Yes, they were.
So it's always they're the games that everyone submits to have interest in playing. So being able, like I said, it's close by relatively for us, but to jump in a bus and drive east, it's a little bit different than jumping on 80 and going west.
So Brad, as we're preparing to wrap up the episode here, one final question for you. I mean, I guess I can't promise that. You never know with me, but what is going to be the difference between last year's Phantoms team and the 2021-2022 version of the Youngstown Phantoms?
Well, I think the easy answer to that, or like the one word, is I think you want to be more successful. But there's a lot of things that go into that, and those are things that we've thought through as a staff and really tried to attack, and not only some of the personnel moves, but some of the things that we're doing as an organization. To get better in those areas, and to me, it's, as well as everybody else on staff. You want to be a little bit more threatening when you have that puck, and you want to have the puck a little bit more often. And how do you go about doing that? And part of that's the development factor on what we have the ability to do here. And as I touched on before, I think this, near the start of the interview was, some of the things that ownership is committed to with our group moving forward, are big things, and you'll see the results on the ice from some of that. Some of that is, how we're going to play, whether it be in our end or in transition, or like I said, when the puck's on our stick. And excited to do that, especially with the new crop of guys that we have coming in that we really feel will be able to be advantageous in that. And part of that's, again, we got to get them here. We got to get them through the reps, get them through the motions, and really start to attack that head on. And again, looking forward to do it.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Hey, 4 weeks from the date that this gets released, we are going to be at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry, getting ready to take on the Lincoln Stars. I don't know about you, but I can't wait.
I look forward to seeing you there, Matt.
Outstanding. Well, fans, thank you so much for tuning in to Ghost Stories all off season long. A big thank you to our friends over at Dunkin for paying the bills. For Brad, I'm Voice of the Phantoms, Matt Lipsack. We will see you in Cranberry on September 23rd. Sound out. Fade to black.